See if you put me first. All of these things. I know that may be a stretch for some of you, but that's the God we serve. All of these things will be added unto you. God touches our lives and we begin to partner with Him. And it doesn't finish this morning. God may speak you tonight and tomorrow, next week. See, here's souls to be added to the kingdom. Thank you, Edward. Thank you, my brother. And there'll be more. There'll be more. There'll be more. Only God knows. Red and yellow, black and white. From what corner of the world will be touched. And when we get there, they're going to say in that Sunday in October, that was the key to somebody coming and reaching me. You're going to dance around heaven about 1,000 years just at that one, because of your obedience in the kingdom. Forever and ever and ever and ever.
When I think of Hugh Rosenberg, I think of someone who has been faithful to the very end. He could have decades ago. He could have hung it up and just enjoyed a life of leisure. He didn't. He just pressed on and kept going. And when I think about where he is today, I think about someone who is a hero of the faith. He was in a marathon and he chose not to stop. He chose to keep running, keep going, keep influencing people's lives. Even today, at his age, he's such an encourager.
My dad's family, until that little country church in the tent meeting was set up over in the valley, were as rough as people could be. They were homebrew, made their own alcohol, made their own liquor, drank all the time, barn dances, a rough bunch. Their conversion, and then sister and brother and sister after sister, then kids, affected an army of our family. My dad felt that call into the ministry, but didn't have any way of going. And Grandma was fairly successful in the good days, and so she said that she would pay his way to Bible school if he wanted to go. And so she gave him $25, and he took the Model A, and Mom and me and Harold and Willis and all of us went to Springfield, Missouri. And so that's where life began. That year, he finished 1 year, and then the superintendent said, go back to Kansas and get you a church and go into the ministry. Out of that little country church, there are over 30-some pastors in the ministry, and about 10 to 12 of them are Rosenbergs, our family. That heritage was something we were born with because of just remembering how and where and what. In fact, today, of the kids in the ministry out of our church and the missionaries, every Sunday there would be thousands in church as they're spread out all over the United States and around the world.
Grew up, went off to Central Bible College, came back and was working in Florida as a youth pastor, and things had just changed. It was time for me to make a change, and he was the only guy I called. I said, Chief, we all called him, pastor or chief. My time here at this church is coming to an end. Do you know anybody who needs a young single youth pastor? He said, I do. When can you come? Come where? Here. What are you talking about? I need a youth pastor. I flew up there on Friday, and on Sunday, I started working at Tri-County. It was just, this is just, that's what he is. He's the most dedicated, he's all in on everything he does, and I was just blown away. Here I was struggling. It was not ending, I was fine, but the situation wasn't fine, and he just brought me up. And for that next year was probably the greatest learning year, catching year. I don't think you learn everything. Sometimes I think you catch things. And he literally changed my life.
You know, in the early days, as we began talking about this vision of Convoy of Hope, and there would be those who would pat you on the back, and in the same breath, they would be bad-mouthing you or patronizing you. And Hugh, he certainly came to our defense. Hey, this is not something that is going to have a shelf life. This is a big deal, and God's hand is on it, and we need to let God use it to bless the kingdom of God and to help people. That kind of encouragement from someone of his accomplishments, it's a big deal. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like his belief in me, again, when you don't have a father, and then you have a man of that stature who believes in you, it's a big deal. And I just thank him for the rest of my life.
I went to CBC in 1952. I was 16 because we started school so early. I loved it. One summer, my roommate and another kid from Kansas, we formed a trio group called the Guardsmen. I was able to make schedule Kansas, Nebraska, and Colorado. Those three areas I had some connection. So we had service after service after service. When I came back to school in the fall, I was interested in meeting this Canadian girl, and as it would be, her name was Schindel and mine was Rosenberg. And so RNS pretty much in all the classes, I'd end up setting a desk or two in front of her, beside her, behind her. Joan was the school organist, so she had a key to the school chapel and the organ, and he said, why don't we go over to the chapel and you play some music for us? And so we did, and while we were there, she played Indian Love Call. And I didn't know whether I was Indian or not, but I sure felt the love call. I was determined to make contact, and so we started dating, but she was there on a green card from Canada. Once that green card was up, she had to go home. We came around to Valentine's Day, came back to school, and under the water tower there on Valentine's Eve, I gave her the engagement ring. Her mom said to her dad, I want you to go get Joan, pull her out of school and bring her home. Joan and I discussed that. We decided, well, let's get married. Well, you can't get married during the school year and anything of that nature. So we came back to school and quit. The school blew a fuse and said, you can't quit. We're going to kick you out for getting married. So we set a wedding for Monday, less than 7 days, to get married. I saw right down beyond our campus was a brand new little congregational church. I went in and asked them if we could have a wedding. They said, sure. Monday came, and the wedding at 7 o'clock. The church was packed with students and faculty. They all came, and so a whole mixture of yes and no. We were off and pastoring in full-time ministry. And today, Brad and the kids are all involved in ministry. It's just unbelievable how God takes it on and on and on. And if each one will be faithful, there's no end to what God will do if he can find somebody who will listen and respond, because it is God that does the works. He just needs the vessel through which he can work to make it happen.
I hope I've already conveyed this, but I want him to know how much he's affected my life. That he's been a friend, and I'm thankful for that. He's been a spiritual mentor, and I'm thankful for that. He's been my boss, and I'm thankful for that. But most of all, I want him to know that I am forever grateful for his impact in my life.
How do you hope people will remember you?
For a man of faith and courage and boldness, not afraid to tackle the impossible, primarily remembered as one who motivated young men and women into the ministry. At 90 years of age, 60 years in the ministry, and raised in the ministry, I just say, don't let anything cause you to stumble. God has the power to take you to places you never dreamed, never imagined, nor thought you could ever accomplish. Just go with Him, and He will take you where He wants you to go, and that will be the top.
When Convoy started, we didn't have two nickels to rub together. We really didn't have anything other than a vision, a dream. And Hugh Rosenberg believed in it, and he invested in it. Took offerings, gave offerings. You know, he certainly had a heart for the poor and the suffering and for the lost and the lonely. And he was the consummate cheerleader. He really was. And when things maybe weren't going as fast or as quickly as I'd hoped they would with Convoy of Hope, he was such a cheerleader. He was an encourager. Like, hey, don't get down. You know, God's in control. God can do what you need to have done. And I remember when he came to Convoy of Hope and to see this building being built, and the prayer that he prayed is something that was special, memorable. He prayed for God to be in this place. Prayed that this would be a place that God would take up residence in. And I believe that God has honored those prayers.